voice and loved to sing. Fashion came second to her, and she was always liked to be in control, and she was funny, and pretty much she was straight to the point. Neil Diamond. I was fortunate to start working with Neil Diamond and Michael Jackson. Neil Diamond was one of the most amazing professional people, entertainers I've ever met in my life. His organization, caring, total trust in you, and his design, and his trust for Bill Whitton, who was his original designer, and who I work with. He would graciously give out tons of tickets to everyone who worked with him because he wanted them to see the fruits of their labor. There's Elizabeth and Coco's here, and they worked with actually sewing up a lot of Michael's jackets and military jackets from the beginning. Engelbert Humperdinck, Bill Whitton worked with him in the late 70s, and he's an amazing guy in very tailored clothes. Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie was a great is a great fun-loving guy, and I had the honor of not only working with him, with Bill Whitton, also I was his stand-in and dancing on a ceiling video, so the room was rotating. In the same room we filmed Stanley Donen did Singing in the Rain, which is pretty interesting. And so I dressed him, Cheech Marin, and Rodney Dangerfield. And Dame Elizabeth Taylor, what can you say but classy. She had a very big heart for humanity, was classy and sassy, loved luxurious things and diamonds and jewels. But I think the most important thing about Elizabeth Taylor to me, and I'm sure people who knew her, was that in the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, when she would go to dinners, as a lot of people would go to dinners, and they thought you had AIDS or you were connected with AIDS, they would break the plates and silverware and they would burn them, or take the chairs that people sat in and they would burn them, or they would, when people died, they would leave their clothes in the cleaners because they were afraid to touch them. Well, Elizabeth Taylor would come with her friends, and whether they were HIV positive or not, she would bring them with them, and if they were not allowed, she wouldn't go. And this woman took a lot of her assets and her money, and she started the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation and AMFAR. And I did a crown for her a few years ago before she passed away, and part of the proceeds, when it gets auctioned off, will go to the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. It's about 70 carats of diamonds and emeralds. And last but not least, Michael Jackson. Well, as a little kid, I loved the Jacksons, but Michael, because he was about my age, all the girls liked him, and so it was kind of like, you were just, can't you dance like Michael, can't you? So I got to the point where I was like, yeah. So as I got older, I started appreciating him, and that's when I was 6 and 7 years old. And then I realized the talent, that when I started working with him, I saw the dedication and the talent this man had to his craft, to his singing, to his dancing. I mean, it was quite amazing and extraordinary to see him and his brothers perform, the family together. So being a little guy coming here, starting to help work on the gloves, that's one of the ones from the Victory Tour. And his belting. I worked with the late Warren Hayden, who did the belting for Elizabeth Taylor, for Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, pretty much everybody's share. I also worked with Rhett Turner also. So as a little guy to come in to finally do these things was an honor for me. And I'm just blessed and privileged to have done and worked on this. One of the interesting things, and I thought that one of the family members was going to be here, but he's unfortunately in the hospital, was this particular jacket was done in 1986 done in 1986 for the tail end of the Victory Tour, beginning of the Bad Tour actually. And he had 4 jackets that lit up. One was a beaded jacket that we did, was red leather, you never see. One was a Thriller jacket that had film going down the front. I don't know if Carla Fillinganes, if you remember that one. Carla's her husband, Greg Fillinganes, produced 4 of Michael's albums, so a lot of us out 4, I believe. So this was the last of the series of the jackets that I decided I was going to work on, not only with Bill Whitton, but I was going to try to surprise everybody with this jacket. Unfortunately, we used some of the same crystals as we did in the beaded jacket, but there was a short in this, so we sent it around the world to be repaired, and they were going to have to rip the whole jacket apart, and it's leather, so it never, Michael tried it, and it just never, it didn't work on tour. He was afraid of electrocution and all this other stuff, even those wires. This was old-time technology. So I sent this out to be repaired, and the gentleman has honored me by trying to fix it. So a lot of the lights still work, but this is the first time it'll be seen publicly where part of it will light up. So I've
Okay, let's give him another round of applause. Also, Keith, while you're here, I'm sure a lot of people have questions about how you actually were able to create with Michael. Michael was very on hands with what he wanted to do with his image. In particular, you had talked about the buckles in the Bad video where they have the buckles going all up the leg. What was that like working with Michael, and how did you all come to the decision that he would have that particular look for that music video for the Bad video?
At that point, the Bad tour was split up between Bill Whitton, the originator, and then went to Michael Bush afterwards. Michael wanted to have a rough and tough image, different from the beaded image of the jackets down that period. And so the more buckles, the better. So Michael would load his pants down with buckles, and he loved military, a lot of German emblems and whatever. So we would sit down and we would actually fit him because he was very small. His waist is a 28, or was it 28, 29, and his jacket was a 36. So he was there with every moment. I'm looking at this jacket over here, which is similar to one we did that took almost 2 weeks to go, 2 weeks to make itself, and about a few days. I don't know where Elizabeth, who actually her husband sewed it for us, but I don't know how many days it took, but it was a long time to do that jacket. So also I'd like to thank, Tony Nicholas is here. Tony Nicholas is the son of Bayard Nicholas, of the Nicholas brothers. And he bought some shoes. And Tony also, not only is, he also works with the City of Los Angeles and the Sam Simon Foundation, which feeds about 12 tons, almost 24 tons of food every month, and I volunteer my time with twice a month. And Tony heads that up, his program heads that up with the city, and so I'm honored that he's here. He's also bought something for us too, so.
Thank you, Keith. I just would like, first of all, like to thank Keith for all this wonderful memorabilia that he's collected over the years. Being a Michael Jackson fan and all the entertainers, I'm in awe at some of these costumes. But so let me first of all say that on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the president of the City Council, we want to thank Keith, and we want to say that he's a treasure of the City of Los Angeles. He really is.